Day. Real quick, I just want to give a shout out to all of my volunteers, the Vex U team, Adam. This event would not be possible without them. All of my judges. Judging is a very important part of this event, and so we're very happy that we were able to secure them, as well as REC. REC has helped me out a bunch this year, so give them a round of applause. And we also have a brand new World's Head Ref here at Arkansas. His name is Drew Marston. So I just want to thank you all for being here. Again, it's going to be an exciting day. We're going to start off with our national anthem, so if you are able, please stand.
What's so proudly we hailed at the twilight's nice gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the we're so gallantly streaming, and the rugged red land, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
All right, everybody, make some noise for your team.
right, so I am Sarah Jones. I am your regional support manager. Yay! I've seen so many of you over the years. It's great to be back here. I pretty much only get to see y'all once a year unless I get to go to a regular event, but I love getting to come back for state championship. I was also just told that I think the positive corners are illegal today. I'm kidding. Thought it'd make it a little bit more interesting today. But yeah, no, it's definitely a go zone, so. Oh, he says no. No, it's not? Okay. All right, so I want to bring in some friends of mine. So if our Vex U team, Adam, will come up here along with Jacob. They're looking at me like, oh, yeah, come on. So, yes, please cheer on these guys. And Dad, you let me do this. So many of you recognize these individuals. They have went around all season and they have helped run the events. So a lot of the events that you went to, would not have happened unless we had these guys there as head refs, scorekeepers, taking all of the equipment. They spent their weekends just like you, and they did it giving back because they're not competing, but they're doing it because robotics is still a big part of their lives. As long as, they're also Texas state champ or tournament champs for Vex U. So we beat out University of Texas and Texas A&M. So they will be in Dallas the same few days that whoever gets to go to Worlds today from this group. So I would highly encourage you that if you are in Dallas for the World Championship, to go find their division, go find them, go support them, cheer them on. They don't have a lot of people that get to go with them just to cheer. So definitely go hit up the stands and cheer on our ATU team because they're representing Arkansas just like somebody from your team will be as well. So thank you guys for all the hard work and for the amazing practice. Okay, so I know that our amazing head ref is going to go through a lot of the rules, and he's going to explain to you how the day is going to go. But I just want to know that throughout the day that we hear lots of encouragement throughout the stands. Again, a very important rule is, down here, it's only coaches and students that are allowed on the gym floor. So parents, please hang out here where you can see. You've got the best seat in the house, so that way you can see the fields, and you got great chairs. Some of them even have cushions on them, so enjoy. But if I've not met you before, definitely come down and find me. I am your partner or person here for Arkansas. I also cover Mississippi, Louisiana, and Tennessee, and we've got some Louisiana Vex U people here that are going to be part of your judging group. So, and Jake, which is our MC for the day. He's a Louisiana Tech as well, former competitor. So a lot of these individuals that's helping today, they were in your seats not too long ago. I've watched them grow up through the program and consider them my adopted kids, as well as all of you. So welcome, thank you for making it here. And now, students, I want you to turn to your parents and turn to your coaches and say thank you for all the hard work and allowing me to be here.
Good morning. My name is Drew Larson. I will be your head referee today. It is my honor to help the young men and women, middle school students here at Arkansas State today. I'm going to spend about 10 minutes kind of going through some of the key points. You're at state. You've been through this all before, so I'm not going to go through everything. I just want to reiterate Sarah's point on code of conduct. Coaches, mentors, parents, you've done an awesome job getting your kids here. Let's just make sure it stays in the audience, and we'd love to hear you. Rah, 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 let's go. And thank you for getting here. We appreciate it. I'm going to break my conversation down into 5 phases. Phase 1 is before the music starts. Phase 1, autonomous. Phase 3, driver control. Phase 4, end game. And then when the music stops for phase 5. Phase 1, a couple of things that are going to be different, and we'll kind of focus on some of those. You'll notice the field's a little higher. So your tactic of pointing into the field with your you're going to be a little picky with that. You're going to say, you might want to take a step back if you're a quirky person. If we see something like this, please don't, please try to listen. When we say, hey, hands back, please. We want to keep you safe, especially those lady browns. Sometimes they'll whack your fingers and you have to last you. So just be safe, okay? Make sure your robots are on the field. Make sure you're wearing glasses. Make sure your controllers are plugged in and on the ground. If I get to that, we are going to run very quick. Somewhere between 3:45 and 4 minute cycle time, which might be fast and we will keep in mind the timer. If we are red, we're going to keep moving pretty quickly and you might get skipped. If we are green, which means we're ahead of time, we won't start before, but if all 4 teams are there, we're going to go ahead and move. Just be aware that before you put your robot on the field, we'd like you to air up. And if you have your robot on the field ready, we don't want you airing there. So you pull that robot back down before you put air in. Please keep to 100 PSI before you put it on. We're going to keep you at your honor. If we think we have a problem, we may course correct during the day. But let's keep it on the up and up. 100 pounds is 100 pounds. We'll move into the next phase, which is autonomous. Autonomous, my team will be looking for line crosses. It'd be touching the gray tile on the opposite end of the double white line. You'll lose autonomous if you do that. Likewise, the same on the other way. Both sides do it. Nobody gets autonomous. You'll hear me go auton blue, auton red, or tag, or if they both cross now. Be aware that the AWP, the autonomous wind point, changes a little bit. Now it's 4 rings, 3 stakes with an alliance ring on it on your side of the field. So your buddy might score one of your rings, but you gotta have 3 stakes on your side of the field that are scored up to and including your alliance stake has to be scored as well. If you don't get that, you won't get AWP. Likewise, if you win crossing the line or you're not touching the ladder, or you break some other rule like throwing a ring of the opposing team out or 3 rings intake, that will also cause you to lose auton over the AWP. So that's phase 2. Phase 3, driver control, just a couple of rules. I'm not going to go over everything. The SG6 possession is a big one this year. It's that number 1 or number 2 issue on the year. I've seen close to 21 matches so far and over 200. Both that one and SG11, but let's talk about it. Possession says I can only have 2 rings in my robot at any one given time. Once you score it on a mobile goal, it comes out of that count. But if you have 3 rings, you need to stop. Stop what you're doing and get rid of that ring. If you do something, it becomes 2 points for not effective. It's best to just get out of the way. If you can't resolve it, move over to the driver line, out of the way, and don't get anybody's way. Otherwise, you have to think about that for match effective. What I see more of, though, is somebody with the control of the mobile goal coming in, and now they have a blue robot, blue mobile goal, red mobile goal in the corner. They come in and they like to sweep that one out and plop theirs in the corner. That is a possession violation. You can't have a mobile goal in your control and plow another mobile goal. And if it's score impacting, you will elevate from a minor to a major. The other thing with that is if it's already in the corner, you jam it in further, you increase the defensibility of that mobile goal. That will also elevate to a major. And the other thing that I've seen is mobile goals that are close to the negative that get pushed strategically away will also elevate to a major. But bump and goes, those types of things, they'll likely be a minor and won't be match effective in that space. So that's SG6. Driver control, there's the usual pinning, trapping, and notice that those positive corners are really popular. So if somebody's just hanging out here, what my guys are going to look for is wheels moving. And if you hear wheels aren't moving, that means you're not trying to escape. If you're not trying to escape, you cannot be pinned or trapped. Although that doesn't stop your teammates oftentimes from saying, I'm being pinned. Just not happening. So we're going to look for that before it. But if we do, you'll hear pinning red pinning 1, red pinning 2, red 3, red 4, red 5. Don't wait until 5 to pull out of there. Try to do it at about 3 just so you know that we're there. You have to back away a full field tile. You'll see my hand go up as a silent count of 5. And when my hand goes down, it's either I got to 5 or you went off and did something different. we would love to see you do something different because this is a quick game. So, number 3, let's talk about SG9 for a second, which is the ladder itself. There's 2 things that I'll say. There's a really interesting Q&A that basically says if you're hanging on it already and somebody interferes with your hang, you're going to get 12 points for the purposes of match attack. So keep an eye on that. On the other side of the coin, there's a red box that has high risk, low risk that says if you leap at that ladder in the last 30 seconds, in the last 2 seconds, and all of a sudden you're hanging and somebody taps you there, that's a high risk move. So you may not get that call. Just be aware. It's best to get there in 5 seconds and know that you're hanging, and we can clearly see that you're hanging, and we'll make that call quick. And if you slap somebody with a mobile goal while they're hanging and they fall off, just because you're punching a robot with a glove on, you're still punching a robot. So you pick. Now let's move to endgame for a second. This one's changed on the season. It used to be 15 seconds, now it's 30 seconds. Positive corners are off limits. This is one of 2 of the main problems this season that are the highest infraction rates. We'll be looking for placed, on the ground, breaking the plane at the outer edge of the right tape, and above the side of the field. If it doesn't meet all those, it's not placed. If it's over, it's not placed. If it's up on a ring, it's not placed. If it's outside the area, it's not placed. And it is fair game within 30 seconds. Just be aware. And it's fully within your right, and actually I'll probably ask my scorekeeper referees in the corner, hey, is it placed? And feel free to do it if they have time to answer that question for you as well. But if it is placed, and it is placed within 30 seconds, you can't touch it and cause it to become unplaced. You can't run in there in an empty corner and place another a mobile goal in that corner, causing it to become placed when it wasn't at 30 seconds. Anything that changes the score is going to be elevated to a major. Just be aware of it. For some reason, it happens a lot. If you're not driving, your other member in the audience, you might be in the driver's area, you might want to have them, hey, make sure that you don't do that. The other one I'll call is a do-si-do. The do-si-do, team comes in with a mobile goal, they don't place it, but they remember themselves all of a sudden, and then they back away. It never becomes placed. That won't get a call. The other one is kind of it's a tap, just from the standpoint, come in and touch a mobile goal and back away, where you come in and you grab a hold of a mobile goal, but you stay, and you don't cause anything to change. You'll get a minor, but it's not a major in that space. So we had a good discussion this morning. If the robot's going to die and it dies here and it stays there, is that a problem? It's not a problem. You're going to get a minor in that space. For the purpose of this competition being a state, we are capturing all of these on referee.fyi, and we'll share that information with you at any time. Just show us your license plate and we'll share it with you. We won't be making any third strike calls until the playoffs. And the only thing that during the match that would result in elevating for majors for multiple infractions would be the SG4 for throwing a ring at the opponent outside the field. If that happens, it's 3 in a match or 4 rings during 30. So I walked through some of the major hurdles today, but for the most part, it's a pretty clean. It's about 3 times as better as it was last year as far as infractions. Yeah, no string either. No string is impossible. So moving to phase 5, when the dust settles. When the dust settles, what you're going to see is that if something looks a little bit precarious in scoring, and keep in mind sometimes you get something like this that kind of hangs out, that will score. And if you hold it up there, it will score. I'll probably wait 5 seconds. If 5 seconds, I'll say, yep, that scores. We're going to score up like that. Once that's done, I'll be going like this to my referees. That's my cue to them that I'm ready to move on, and I'll do it pretty quick. Once I see the scores and make any quick calls, I'm moving on to the next one. I'm going to go take a quick look around, and just as quickly I'm going to move on. This is going to move pretty quickly today. It's going to be like a ping pong match from that field and this field all day long. So as teams look at their schedule, to look at the matches that are playing, not necessarily the schedule that we have. We'd like to remain on pace, if at all possible, if not a little bit ahead of schedule. The only other question I'll have is, if I go like this, and you have a question, please feel free to let me know, and I will answer it. I am obligated to answer it before I leave the field. So you are also obliged to stand your ground, show me a rule if you don't feel like you've been understood. Respectfully, I will listen to anything that you guys throw at me, as long as it's a Q&A or it's a rule in the book. Those types of things, we should, at some point in the match, I may need to make a T3 call with regards to a final call, but I usually will tell both sides what's going on, give you the opportunity to pull a Q&A out if you have one at hand before making that call. But when I go like this, I'm looking to move on, so you should let me know you have a question. If you move away from the field at that point and we go along and somebody tells you something and you want to come back, you have left the field, those calls are now final. Just be aware. I've gone through phase 1 through 5, it's going to cycle a lot. 3:45, 4 minutes. Now is a good time if you have questions. We have a guy with a microphone out here so we can see. I got the first one over here. Any questions that you would have? Go ahead. We got a first one here.
So the first one's about mobile goals. For one match, I saw that they got pinned in the corner with a mobile goal. In the last 30 seconds, they were stayed pinned in there. If they don't move, does the mobile goal still count?
The question is, so the question was, it deals with mobile goals. If you were getting stuck in a corner and you're in that corner and you're still attached to that mobile goal, the question I would ask is, was the mobile goal not placed or was it placed? And if it was placed and it stayed placed, you would likely get a minor for that. We'd like you to get out of there if at all possible. If it is your third strike in the playoffs, it would result in a major. So just be aware, the time to do that is in the playoffs. Okay, just to be sure. Have I answered your question? Okay, cool.
So even if you're pinned in the corner in the last group, because like what happened was they placed it down, were about to get out, and got pinned, and they stayed in there. So
Yeah, if they've elected to stay in there, they're in there within
They were
30
trying to get
seconds, and you
out.
are responsible for your robot at all times. Just be aware, okay? They didn't push you from across there. The only caveat to that is, if you were pushed across the field and ended up in that corner, but you made the conscious decision to go in that corner, then you were in. You made the first call to be in there. You were trying to positively impact the score. Your call. Take the minor, get the points, go. That would be my suggestion. Any other questions? Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. No, you don't count. Go ahead. Go ahead. We got a question up top. Up top. You guys can meet in the middle. Go ahead.
If positive corners are protected, we still get rings out of them.
Positive corners are protected from mobile goals that are placed. Rings can be pulled out of there, and I've actually seen robots just camp through there. As long as there isn't a mobile goal that's placed, it's the mobile goal that is actually protected in that corner. So did I answer your question? Awesome. We got one over here. We're coming. We're coming. We didn't get the cross country right. Go for it.
In the context of SG6, what is an egregious violation?
Intentional and egregious violations through the Q&A has been defined as anything that is score impacting or improving the strategic position of, and I'm assuming you're talking about mobile goals? Yeah, okay. So I'll give you a couple of examples. Number one, if you are, we talked about changing a score within 30 seconds, and if it changes position, it's placed versus unplaced, that will definitely. If you are barely inside the line and you jam it into the back corner, you have improved the strategic defensibility of that mobile goal. That's another one that will elevate to a major because it is intentional and egregious. The other one that might be a little bit less new is I'm a blue robot here, I got a red robot here. This is a blue mobile goal. I have another mobile goal in my control. I cannot fly this. I can stay here and prevent the red robot from pushing it over here. But when I push this across the field in a tug of war with that other robot, I have changed the strategic position of that away from the negative impact of my team. That will also be elevated. Just be aware. Have I answered your question? Conversely, in that same discussion, if I go ahead and I push this to the side and I keep going, it's not strategic, it's more like getting out of the way. Don't expect to get that far. Okay? Fair question. Thank you for those. Any other questions on the field? I have one right here, white jacket. We also have one on top. Hang tight, white jacket. Go ahead, up top.
So if there's like a robot that pushes all of the donuts in the corner out at once, does that count as
The donuts. Okay, so we're talking about SG6 again, possession as far as the rings and then 2-ring maximum. Usually, I'm going to use a technical term here, about blinkers. The blinker that you flip down in order to push that out. If you're only moving it with one face of the blinker, that's okay to move all four. It's when that blinker interacts and the rings interact with the front of the robot and the blinker, it creates a control position if you go in that direction. So you'll be watching that closely. For a couple of them, I've seen them that they're long enough to where they're not going to interact with that front face. But 2 faces equals control. 1 face is not control and will not be called possession. As far as the blinkers, is that what you're looking for? Okay. Thank you. Good question. Why don't you come down here, white jacket? Excellent questions. The questions we get now, less tears on the field, and you don't want to see me cry. So, go ahead.
So,
needle bullet thread. Sorry.
So in the context of SC6, if we're, for instance, connected onto one of the goals and it's time to match and we move and we touch the middle goal, and so we touch the middle goal on the side. We don't bring it with us, but it splits a bit. Would that be considered a violation?
Has it changed the strategic position of that second mobile goal?
No.
Or changed the scoring of it?
It would just be like
It's kind of a touch and go. It's a touch and go. We would not call that. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so
Follow on.
in autumn, what's considered breaking the plane? Because in some competitions, they say like if you're hovering over it, it's breaking the plane, but then in some it says if the wheel is physically like.
I will give you 2 definitions to confuse the situation. If you physically touch the gray tile on the other side with your robot, that is a problem and you will lose autonomy at that point. Blue robot touches this, you're done. You will lose autonomy, you will also lose to AWP. The other thing, for the purpose of AWP, and this is where it might be where the confusion is, if you are counting 3 stakes, 4 rings on your side, if I am here with that second or that third stake mobile goal, that is not completely on my side, so you wouldn't get that. But I think that first one probably covers your definition, and this is just a follow-on into the AWP, which can get a little confusing. It has the mobile goals, the 3 of them, and your line stake have to be fully on your side in order to count towards your stakes. The 4 rings, you can have a ring or 2 over there, but you have to have 4 rings and 3 stakes on this side that actually are scored for you. Does that answer your question in Lisa? Wow. What? Who?
Okay.
Okay. Good question. Love it. Anybody else? We got a hand. Love the questions for
If the mobile goal crosses the autonomous line, does that count as you breaking it? Or does it have to be your bot?
has to be your robot physically touching the other side of the gray tile over the double. You can be over it. And you could even drop it if you want. And it's just a matter of you're not going to get the car on through. You're not going to lose the autonomous chance unless your robot physically touches the side.
So if you're riding like walk right up, right up, still good?
Correct. Not touching the gray tile. And if you're that close, I would say, be careful. Play with your code. Okay? Good question. Good question. Anybody else? Anybody else? Are we got a stretch up there by the Metcalf trucking sign? Or just, no? Okay. Just stretching. Oh, we got a question right here.
So Rule T10 says that there's able to be a 1 inch, clear up like you misplaced by 1 inch. Are we able to misplace them by 1 inch at the start of the match, or?
For the starting on the line, you need to be over that line. That line should be 12 inches from the wall to the outer edge of that starting line. If that is an error, we will fix it. But you need to be over that error. This is not, you're not going to get to cheat by a rule. It's the field setup, not the robot setup. The robot setup covered by SG1 says you need to be over that line. You need to be braking the plane with that line on either side of it, and you should be okay. Usually I see people on this side just barely touching that, or just barely over that. Does that answer your question? Yes. Okay, cool. Over. Question. Going once. Going twice. Have a wonderful day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time.
Before you guys go back down to the pit, I just want to make some things clear, this is not your venue, this is an athletic facility, so we need to make sure that we keep it as clean as possible. So any trash that is yours, you need to be responsible to pick up and throw away. All right? Also, quals are going to start at 10:30. That means Q1 and Q2 need to be at the queuing tables by, these two. Yep. They need to be at the queuing table by 10:20. Okay? And on the field by 10:25.